Hey guys, it's Emily, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my most anticipated releases for 2021. So I'm typically not someone who stays up to date with new and upcoming releases, but I have made a list for 2021 of some of the books that I'm actually quite looking forward to, and so I thought I would share them with you guys. I have 21 books for 2021, and so without further ado, let's dive in. So we're gonna go in publication order, and for me that starts on February 4th with Murder on the Safari Star by Sam Sedgman and M.G. Leonard. So this is the third book in the Adventures on Train series, and you guys know how much I love this series. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know how much I love this series. It's a middle grade mystery series that follows our main character Harrison, who goes on adventures on trains with his uncle. I love the first one. I enjoy the second one just as much, and I'm very much looking forward to this third installment. This one will be taking place in Africa, as the title may suggest, and I believe that there's a murder involved, as once again the title suggests, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I feel like the crimes get worse every time. Like in the first book there was a theft, in the second book it was a kidnapping, and in the third book it's murder. So I'm really looking forward to this. I love this series so much, so I cannot wait for the new book in the series. Then we move to February 9th with Hot British Boyfriend by Christy Boyce. So the only thing that I know about this book is that it follows our main character who is going on a study abroad trip to England, and obviously when she's there she meets a guy that she's really into, but in order to avoid making the same mistakes that she did in her past relationship, she strikes a bargain with one of her classmates. Basically they're gonna help each other out and hopefully win their crushes over. So she's going to help him win his crush over, and he's going to help her win her hot British boyfriend over. I'm really looking forward to this. I love any YA travel novel, and so I'm really looking forward to reading another one, and England has such a special place in my heart, so any book that is set in England I am sure I'm going to love. Up next we're moving to March on March 9th with Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. So this is the third and final book in the Brown Sisters series, which I discovered in 2020 and absolutely fell in love with. Talia Hibbert is now one of my favorite romance authors. I loved the first two books in that series, and this one follows Eve Brown, who is probably the messiest and flightiest, I don't know if that's a word, but she's like a hot mess, and she crashes into the life of an uptight B&B owner, and I believe that they're gonna like work together to make the B&B like flourish or something like that. I'm not too sure about the plot of this, but it's Talia Hibbert. It's the third book in the Brown Sisters series. I am here for it, and March cannot come soon enough. So now let's move into April. So the first book that I'm really excited about that is coming out in April is Go the Distance by Jen Kalinina. This is the 10th book in the Twisted Tale series, and it is coming out on April 6th. I cannot wait for this one because it is a Hercules retelling. So if you're not familiar with the Twisted Tale series, it's a series of Disney books where the authors will take a part of an original Disney story and twist it completely to make it a different story. So we've had various Disney princesses in the previous installments, but this one is following Hercules, which I am so excited about. The premise of this is, what if Meg had to become a Greek god? So in order to be with Hercules, she has to become a Greek goddess, and in order for that to happen, she has to save her ex's current wife, which sounds very complicated and like it could be very messy, but I am looking forward to it. I think she has to go to the underworld or something like that. I don't know. It's Hercules. I feel like we don't get a lot of Hercules retellings, especially in YA, and I'm really looking forward to it. I cannot wait for this one. Also coming out on April 6th is Kisses and Croissants by Anne-Sophie Juano. So this follows an American girl who goes to an elite ballet school in Paris, and obviously she meets a very charming French boy. I don't know too much about the plot of this, but there's ballet, there's Paris, there's a cutesy love story. I am pleased, and I am looking forward to this. Then on April 20th, we have Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertalli. So I love Becky Albertalli. She's one of those authors who I really love. She is pretty much one of those like feel good. Back in the days I used to read her stuff a lot, and so whenever I need to be reminded of that time, I love to pick up a Becky Albertalli book, and this is her newest release. It is following two theater kids who are very close. I think they're best friends, and they're both crushing on the same guy, if I am not mistaken, and obviously this is going to create a lot of complications. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's Becky Albertalli's first book that features theater kids, so I think that's going to be interesting because I think she used to be a theater kid, if I am not mistaken. Anyway, I'm looking forward to that because I love Becky Albertalli's writing, and so I'm really looking forward to see what she has in store for us next. Also on April 20th, we have What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. So I love this author duo. I read the first two books that they came out with. Both of them were Shakespearean retelling. I don't know if this one is, but this is an academic rivals to lovers situation, and I am so excited. I feel like we don't get enough academic rivals to lovers stories, and I'm so here for it. Like I said before, I love this author duo. Both of the books that I have read from them have received like at least 4 out of 5 stars. I've cried reading them, and I love the main characters and the writing so much, so I'm really looking forward to reading their newest release. Then on April 29th, we have The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. So this story follows our main character Addie, who is traveling to Scotland with her sister for a wedding. They're driving up there, and on their way there, as soon as they set off, basically they crash into another car. And who drives the other car? None other than her ex-boyfriend Dylan. So now that Dylan's car is completely totaled, they have to like drive together to go to the wedding because he's also going to the wedding, and obviously this is going to create a lot of awkward situations, but I am so excited for this because I loved Beth O'Leary's The Flat Share. I haven't read her most recent release, but this one sounds so interesting. I love books about road trips, and so I'm really looking forward to reading that. Now let's move to May, and on May 11th we have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. So for this one, I think I'm going to read you the synopsis because I feel like it's going to be easier than explaining it. So it says, with 1 week to win back the best friend she might just be in love with, a travel writer plans a trip of a lifetime. And I don't know about you guys, but that sounds so interesting. I love books that have some kind of traveling involved. I mean, I have a whole series about books that involve traveling, so obviously I love them, and I love Emily Henry's beach read. I just fell in love with that book. It was one of my favorite books of 2020, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this author's second rom-com book. Also out on May 11th is Art and Soul by Jen Frederick. So this follows a Korean adoptee whose father dies. At the funeral, she hears a comment that kind of sets her on this journey to find her own roots, and she goes to Seoul to, I guess, meet her family. I don't know too much about the plot of this, but I know it's an adult romance. It takes place in Seoul in Korea, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I love this cover, and I don't know too much about it, but it looks very interesting, so I am looking forward to that. Now on May 13th, we have Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. So you guys know how much I love Heartstopper. It is one of my favorite graphic novel series, and I cannot wait to read the new installment. I love this cover. It's super cute, and I mean, I am so excited to continue reading this series because it's absolutely amazing, and I love these characters, so I am looking forward to getting reunited with them. Then out on May 18th is Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. So when I read the premise of this, it kind of reminded me of You've Got Mail. Basically, we have an indie bookseller and the owner, or like someone who works at a chain bookstore, and the chain bookstore is obviously threatening to shut down the indie bookstore, and I guess there's a romance that ensues between people who work at both bookstores, and I don't know, a romance about books? Like, I'm sorry, I'm here for it. And like I said, this kind of reminds me of You've Got Mail, which I'm very excited about because it is one of my favorite movies, and so I'm really excited to read this one. Finally, on May 25th, we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. You guys know how much I love her books. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, as well as Daisy Jones and the Six, and I believe that Malibu Rising is another one of her like historical fictions, and so I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know too much about it, but I think there's like a party involved. It's a book that takes place over 24 hours. Not too sure what's going on there, but I'm so excited for it, and I cannot wait for it to release. Now let's move on to June, and on June 1st we have One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I don't know too much about the premise of this, but Casey McQuiston is one of my favorite authors. She released Red, White, and Royal Blue in 2019, and it became one of my absolute favorite books. It is one of my all-time favorites. I've read this book 3 times already. I'm just in love with that book so much, and I knew when I read that book that this author would be one that I would come back to a lot, so I'm really looking forward to a new release. I believe this one is a sapphic romance, and there are some time traveling involved. I don't know too much about it, but I'm very excited. On June 15th, we have Slow Burn by Olivia Dade. So this is a companion novel to Spoiler Alert, which I've read earlier this year and really enjoyed. And this one follows Marcus's best friend, whose name I cannot remember for some reason, but he's one of the actors on the show. And there was a romance that happened, like something was there in the first book. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this will evolve, I guess, in this second book that is all about him, and I'm really excited to read it. Like, I cannot wait because he was probably my favorite character in the first book, so I'm really excited that there's a book that's all about him. Now in July we have Take Me Home Tonight by Morgan Matson, which is releasing on July 1st. So I love Morgan Matson. She's one of my favorite YA contemporary authors. She's pretty much an auto-buy author for me, and so I would pretty much buy everything that she comes out with. This one is about 2 seniors in high school who decide to have a night out in New York City. They have like all of these plans to make the best out of their day, and everything goes wrong. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think we have a cover yet for that book, but I'm so excited. I hope it won't get pushed back but I am just so excited that Morgan Matson is finally releasing a new YA contemporary. In August, we have If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. This one comes out on August 3rd, and it is a Cinderella retelling where the main character is plus size. So this is an adult romance, which I'm so excited about because this is the first in a new line of publishing at Disney where they're going to be putting Disney princesses into contemporary settings, and I'm guessing they're all going to be adult romances, which I'm so excited about because I feel like we get quite a few YA retellings for Disney, but not a lot of adult stuff, and I'm so excited that we're getting adult romances, so I cannot wait for this. I haven't read anything by Julie Murphy, but I know that she has written a lot of books featuring plus size main characters, so I'm really looking forward to it. I know the rep is going to be good, and I'm so excited, and I really want to dive into her backlist too, but this one I'm really excited about because obviously I love Disney. Then on August 17th, we have The Heart Principle by Ellen Huang. This is the third book in the Kiss Quotient series. I don't know if there's a name for that, but I love this series. I love the first two books, but this one I'm like so pumped about because it follows Quan, one of the main side characters, I guess, in the first book. He's Michael's best friend, as well as, what's the name of the main character in the second book? I don't remember, but he's his brother. And he was one of my favorites right off the bat. I loved him so much, so I'm so glad that he's finally getting his own book because he deserves it. Now let's jump to October, and on October 19th we have Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. So this is the third book in the, I guess, Renaissance Fair series, and I am so excited for it. I loved Well Met. I haven't read Well Played yet, which came out this year, but this one is the third book, like I said before, and it follows Mitch, who is one of the side characters in Well Met, and I'm very excited for it. I really love the whole setting that the author has created with the Renaissance Fair, so I'm really looking forward to reading another book in that series. Then in November we have Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuzniar. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, I apologize. I don't think we have a release date yet for that book, but I follow the author on Instagram, and when I saw like the proof of this, I was like, okay, I need this. So this is a Nutcracker retelling, which is where I'm completely sold because I read The Enchanted Sonata by Edward Dixon Walwork earlier this year, like this month actually, and I fell in love with it. Like, I love the Nutcracker and I just need more retellings, and so I'm really happy that we're getting a Nutcracker retelling in 2021. I love this for me. And there's one final book on my list that doesn't have a release date as far as I'm aware, and that's Always Jane by Jen Bennett. I love Jen Bennett. She's another one of those auto-buy authors for me. I love pretty much everything that she writes, especially her YA contemporaries, and I've been told, I think it was because I follow the author on Twitter and I think that's what she talked about, that this has like Camp Rock vibes, so I'm guessing that this is taking place at camp, and I don't know. Camp Rock is one of my favorite DCOM movies, and I am so excited for this one. I don't even know what it's about. We don't have a cover for it as far as I know, and I'm still so excited for this book. Like, I need it to come out already so that I can read it. So that concludes my most anticipated releases for 2021. Obviously, there are so many amazing books coming out this year, and I am so excited, but I only picked the ones that I am aware of. I know there are so many books that are coming out that I probably don't even know about, and so I cannot wait to see what this year holds for us. I feel like we're gonna have a great year in terms of books. I mean, like I said, so many great releases in 2021. I cannot wait for them, and I would love if you guys would let me know in the comments down below one book that you're looking forward to in 2021. What is one of your most anticipated releases? If you have more than one, feel free to share. And I guess that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give this a big thumbs up. That really helps out my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I guess that's it, and I will see you guys in my next video.